Today, we're talking about a huge shift in the world of process improvement, specifically how artificial intelligence is taking Six Sigma, one of the most respected methods in business, and just launching it into the future.
So, you've probably heard of Six Sigma, right? For decades, it's been the absolute gold standard for quality control. It's this super rigorous, data-heavy approach that companies use to basically hunt down and wipe out defects, making their processes almost perfect. It's incredibly powerful, for sure, but it has one major limitation.
So you're probably thinking, okay, if it's the gold standard, what's the problem? Why fix what isn't broken? And that's a great question, because the issue isn't really with the method itself. It's with what the method demands.
And there it is. That's the core of the problem. Six Sigma projects are just incredibly slow. They eat up so much time, and they rely entirely on these highly trained experts, they're called black belts, who can spend months, sometimes even longer, on just one single project.
All right, so let's dig into that. Where exactly does all that time go? We're not talking about a small delay here. This is a fundamental bottleneck that's baked right into the traditional way of doing Six Sigma.
At the heart of every Six Sigma project is this 5-step framework. You define the problem, you measure the data, you analyze it, then you improve the process, and finally you control it to make sure it sticks. It's called D-M-A-C-I-C. It's the backbone of the whole thing, but the time suck? Well, it isn't spread out evenly. The real problem is jammed into just 2 of these 5 steps.
And this chart just lays it all out, doesn't it? A staggering 60%. Often more, of an expert's time is spent right here in the measure and analyze phases. And why? Because this is the real grunt work. It's all about gathering, cleaning, and validating mountains of data before you can even start to figure out what's going on.
So if the problem is human time, how do you solve that without sacrificing quality? Well, you bring in a partner that works at the speed of light. And that brings us to this incredible concept, the AI-powered virtual black belt.
Now, I want to be really clear here. This is not just some fancy calculator or a cool spreadsheet macro. A virtual black belt is an AI system that has been taught the core principles of quality improvement. It actually understands the methodology, the lingo, and the tools just like a human expert would.
And you can see just how deep this expertise goes. The AI gets the DMAIC framework. It can suggest the right tool for the job, like a fishbone diagram, to map out root causes. It even knows when to run a specific statistical test, like a t-test, to compare different data sets. It's basically like having a resident expert on call 24/7, guiding the team and making sure the project stays on track.
Okay, so having that built-in expertise is one thing. That's fantastic. But the real revolution, the part that changes the entire game, is when you combine that expertise with AI's biggest strength, processing insane amounts of data at unbelievable speeds.
To put this in perspective, just think about the old way. Teams would get completely buried for weeks, sometimes months, just wrestling with data. It was this slow, painful process that was a drag on every single project.
I love this quote because it's so definitive. It doesn't say AI helps or reduces the bottleneck. No, it obliterates it. It completely vaporizes the single biggest obstacle to getting things done quickly in Six Sigma. And the result? It's kind of mind-blowing. These advanced machine learning algorithms can tear through petabytes of data, something that would take a human years, and they can pinpoint the key factors causing a problem in just a few minutes. The time savings are almost hard to wrap your head around, from months of work down to minutes.
So here's the big question, right? If the AI is doing all the heavy lifting with the data, does that make the human expert obsolete? Are they out of a job? Nope, far from it. This actually frees them up to focus on work that is way, way more valuable. It completely redefines their role. I mean, just look at this shift. Before AI, the black belt was basically a data detective, a statistician. After AI, they become a change management agent, a strategic implementer. They're literally elevated from being down in the tactical weeds to a much more strategic leadership position.
So what does being a change agent actually mean? Well, it's all the messy, complicated human stuff that an AI could never do. It's about navigating company politics, convincing people who are resistant to new ideas, training entire teams on new ways of working, and making absolutely sure that these improvements stick around for the long haul. That's where the real, lasting value is made.
So really, that's the key takeaway here. What we're looking at is a brand new kind of partnership. The AI handles the incredibly complex and time-consuming number crunching, and that frees up the brilliant human experts to do what only they can do: lead people through difficult, important change.
And that just leaves us with this fascinating question to think about. For decades, we've spent most of our brainpower just trying to find the problem. But now, AI can do that in minutes. This completely blows the field wide open. It lets us redirect all of that human time, that energy, that creativity towards solving bigger, tougher challenges. So what frontiers are we going to conquer next?